Thank you for joining us. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm Marios Katisti. I'm the Head of Mobile Solutions at Data Select. Today, on this webinar, we should be looking at Android Enterprise, but we'll also be discussing the Android Enterprise Accreditation Program, its benefits, how you can join, as well as the support that Data Select can provide you with both Android Enterprise and with MDM solutions. I'm joined today by Naz Dilawal from Google. Morning, Naz.
Morning.
Before we move on, Naz, do you want to just sort of just explain your role at Google?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Naz Dilawal, and I'm responsible for partner enablement across Northern Europe within the Android Enterprise team. So what that typically means is I'm responsible for working with partners and ensuring from an enablement perspective, all our partners have all the relevant accreditations and are able to support the Android Enterprise platform from a business perspective.
Okay, good stuff. Now, before we make a start, just like to mention that there is a chat and a Q&A facility available, which is located at the bottom of the screen. Please ask questions, and obviously we'll answer these as we go through. A copy of this presentation will also be made available. But for now, I'd like to hand over. So Naz, if you'd like to run us through Android Enterprise.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mario. So thank you all for taking the time for attending this webinar. We'll start by going through what Android Enterprise is and why it's been so successful and what it can mean to you from a partner perspective. So Android's been around for a number of years now. Originally, the platform came out in around 2003. The first device was around 2008, and since then it's grown massively. As you can see on the screen, the current number of Android devices globally is around 3 billion. To say the world's population is around 8 billion, that's great to see that a significant proportion of those people are using Android devices. And it's also really exciting to see that Android can play a part from both a personal and business perspective when it comes to managing and helping people in their daily lives. So why has it been so successful? So looking at one of the reasons why it's been so successful is around the fact that Android is underpinned by the world's largest application distribution platform. I'm waiting to go on to the next screen. Here we go. So Google Play is the world's largest application distribution platform, and on there you'll find it's home to over 2 million applications. So from a business perspective and even a personal perspective, users are able to find applications that they can use to be able to control their workflows. And when it comes to productivity and driving productivity, yes, we all want to use mobile phones to be productive, but ultimately it's the applications that are on those mobile phones that will allow you to be productive from that perspective. And the fact that there's a number of applications to choose from is a testament to how deep our application ecosystem is. And it doesn't stop there as well. So from a business perspective, as an organization, if you want to develop your own applications, then you can absolutely do so with Android, and you can use the Play Store to be able to distribute those applications to your end users. Just moving on. From a security perspective, we take a multi-layered approach to security. So what that basically means is from the hardware layer all the way up to the application layer, we embed a level of different security controls. From a hardware perspective, we ensure that and we mandate that any devices made with the Android platform uses hardware-backed security itself. We call this a trusted execution environment, and it's a place where all the cryptographic and secure information is kept, making it difficult for hackers to be able to compromise that device. We also build in and embed a number of Google security services like Google Safe Browsing and Google Play Protect. Google Play Protect is a great one to talk about. It's the world's largest malware detection platform, and it's built into the device operating system, but also managed Google Play. Works in two ways. If you're a developer uploading an application to the Play Store, the application will go through a number of AI and human-based checks to ensure that it's not using bad code or bad practices. If it is, we'll stop that application from being published. And on the device, Google Play Protect will scan every single Android device from version 6 onwards on a daily basis to ensure that there's no malware that's made its way onto those devices. If we find an application that is malware, we'll simply remove it from the device and let the user know why we've done so. So there's a number of controls that we build into the Android platform and security considerations to ensure it continues to be number one when it comes to security itself. Another uniqueness offered by the Android platform is that we're the only mobility platform in the world to offer such a range of diverse hardware, from smartphones all the way up to the latest and greatest AR and VR headsets. So when it comes to working with customers who may have multiple use cases, it's clear to see that actually the Android platform can cater for pretty much all of them and every user. An example I always like to use is the retail store. So if you're working with a customer who has a retail outlet, there's a prime example where you're going to have a number of different use cases. When you walk in, you're probably going to do payments on a self-service kiosk. When you walk onto the shop floor, you'll probably see staff members walking around doing stock takes using a ruggedized device that can scan a barcode. If you work to the admin team, they're probably going to be using smartphones and tablets to be able to work from anywhere, any place, and any application. So a real good example of one vertical where having different device hardware is really important, but Android obviously can offer solutions across multiple workflows, and we'll talk a bit about that in a moment. Moving back to security, so we've got third-party validations from both the likes of Omdia and Gartner when it comes to security. So we are indeed setting the pace when it comes to security and innovation. Over the last few years, and since 2017, Android has been #1 when it comes to security. Even as late as last year, Omdia released the last report, and Android came #1 when it comes to looking at areas that enterprises deem important from a mobile security perspective. And you can see the scores on the screen there. We're not just meeting the competition, we're surpassing them in a number of different areas, which is really important. And as a result, when we look at the global sentiment and global market share when it comes to mobility, so out of the 250 million devices that get shipped to businesses every year, Android has nearly 80% of the market share. And as a partner, when I look at this number, I see one word, and that word's opportunity from a partner perspective. And it's opportunity to build solutions, it's opportunity to build services, to build revenue generating intellectual property that will allow your customers to maximize the investments that they're making in these devices through you. It moves it from just being a device to actually being a real platform to enable end-to-end solutions. And what's led to this kind of growth and adoption is the fact that Android is the only platform in the world to be able to offer 4 distinct ways of management. Again, Google are very cognizant of the fact that no 2 organizations are the same. And even within a single organization, you'll have a number of different use cases. So we introduced something called the work profile back in 2014. It was originally designed for BYOD. So if an end user wanted to bring their own device into an organization, we were able to inflate something called the work profile, which separated work and personal data. And that was great for the end user because it means they could use their device, but the management of that device was limited to the work profile. And from a business perspective and IT admins, it was great news because it meant that we can just manage the work profile and the work data that's within that work profile. If that device goes missing or is no longer in the business, we can simply remove the work profile without touching any of the personal information on that device, hence reducing any sort of liability from a business perspective. We also made work profile available on company-owned devices. So on the right-hand side, you'll see 3 use cases on this slide, which talk about company-owned. So company-owned, personally enabled, that's where an organization wants to give a device to the end user to use for work, but also wants to allow personal use, and they can do that through the work profile. For those customers who are highly regulated, so think criminal justice or finance sector, where personal use probably isn't appropriate, then we have work only. So only applications that have been enabled from a work perspective are going to be on that device. The end user can't download anything else unless it's been approved by the IT admin. And then the third one is dedicated device, whereby a device has been configured for use for a particular use case itself. So think of shift workers, the postal service, or any one of those frontline use cases where actually the device is only used for a very specific purpose. So with Android, it's possible to configure it just for that purpose. And what that kind of does is reduce the total cost of ownership, but also any issues that could go wrong with that device, because actually it's been configured for one thing and one thing only. And then going back to that work profile again, the fact that we can clearly separate the work and personal applications and ensure that we can safeguard the privacy of the end user information, but also safeguard the data from a business perspective. But also the fact that the work profile gives the end user the ability to be able to turn that off when it's appropriate, which I feel is my most favorite feature. I often get a smile when I say that, but it absolutely is. Like, we're all humans. We haven't all turned to AI yet, but we all need to be able to switch off at some point in the day. And with Android Work Profile, when it's the end of the day, a Friday, beginning of the weekend, when you go on holiday, you have the option to toggle off the work profile, right? And what that basically does is stop you from getting disturbed when you should be spending time with your family, doing things that you love, having that much needed downtime to come back into the business refreshed, productive, and engaged. And if there are applications that you feel that you must be notified around, and I love how YouTube is the top one on focus mode, then you can select certain applications that you can carry on being notified around. And then we also give you a well-being dashboard as well to make sure that you can keep on top of how much time you're spending with digital devices versus the other things in your life that you should be doing. So, there's a number of things there that we've talked about around the flexibility, the security, the device choice. So a lot to think about from a customer perspective. And a couple of years ago, we realized, we need to make this simpler for our end customers. So we introduced something called the Android Enterprise Recommended Program. It applies to devices and MDM or EMM solutions. It's an opt-in program where the devices and EMM solutions will go through an additional set of validation set by Google. Upon passing the validation, they get awarded with an Android Enterprise Recommended badge and are then featured on our solutions directory, which you can find online. And ultimately, this tells customers what are the devices that have got Google seal of approval. So if I'm thinking about a solution and I need a device that's going to be able to manage these or work with these applications that require this much memory, that need to be managed in this mode by this particular solution, then it's a great place to start for customers. So I encourage you all to have a look at the solutions directory, to have a look at what Android Enterprise Recommended badges are, badge devices and EMM solutions are on there. Talking about the solution directory, the other things that we feature on there are partners that have gone through our accreditation program itself. So we have a partner accreditation program, which allows partners to go through a series of validations, at which point they'll be awarded with a number of a type of badge, whether that's gold and silver, which Marius will talk about in a moment. But ultimately, it's a program that allows you to maximize your time and investment in the Android platform for our customers. With this, you'll be able to work with us for support, training, and also other areas as well from a marketing perspective to make sure that your messaging and your go-to-market from an Android perspective is the best. So I'm going to hand over to Marius now, who's going to take you through what that partner program looks like and how you can get onboarded and what it means for you. But before we do, we just want to reiterate that the Q&A panel is open. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, feel free to open up the little Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen or top of your screen, depending on how it's been configured. And you can jump in with any questions and we'll answer them after the second session. So with that being said, I'll take a pause and hand over to Marius to talk us through the partner program. Over to you, Marius.
Yeah, thank you, Naz. So I think you can see obviously the importance of Android Enterprise. I mean, every Android Enterprise deployment or Android deployment that we're doing involving an MDM involves Android Enterprise. So the way I look at it is to say that Android Enterprise is like the methodology, and then an MDM or EMM, as it's also known sometimes, is required then to govern the device fleet, right? But because it's so important now to obviously govern and secure these devices, what's also very important is obviously then to be able to have that relevant training and support that you need to be able to provide these deployments to your customers. And this program then gives you that kind of status, is that recognition from Google that you are of a certain level where you can obviously then present these propositions to your customers, and also obviously from your customers' perspective, they can see that obviously that you are qualified, that you have been certified, and you're in the best position to be able to provide these propositions to them. So this particular, the program here is effectively you can achieve what's regarded as a silver or a gold partner accreditation. Okay, now this could be split into two ways. The vast majority of you will look to become something which is called a mobility consultant. Okay, and they'll either be a silver or gold level, and we'll come to that in a moment. For those of you that might be a distributor or a sub-distributor that's actually can then be doing a lot of uploads from a zero touch enrollment perspective. Okay, so you can either become, as I say, mobility consultant, or you can look at a zero touch status. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a moment. But the benefits of the program are listed down on the left-hand side. Now, training is obviously such an important thing, and the training that's available as part of this program. So you get associate, sort of like an entry-level course. Then you have the professional course for more for sort of like sales/technical people, and then you have the expert levels as well, which we'll come on to in a moment. Once you've obviously gone through the certifications, you'll obviously then get your associated badge, which is silver or gold. And what you'll also be able to do, I mean, Naz mentioned about the solutions directory before, but your organisation will be listed on that solutions directory, and that should also then obviously provide some additional status and profile for your business. And also, you should get customers then coming through, because they can obviously then see that you're accredited. Okay. I think the other thing as well is that from a marketing perspective, your marketing teams will get access to a whole heap of point of sale and other details. And from a technical perspective, is that any technical teams will then get access to a big technical Android community as well. And that's, of course, in addition to the sort of support that you'll get from Data Select. Now, as part of the journey, what you then firstly have to do is apply to become one of these accredited partners. Now, I'd say this presentation will be sent to you, but firstly, what you need to do is apply. So if you actually go onto, if it comes through, this link will be provided. You go onto this particular portal, click join the partner portal, and then you'll follow the process. What you will have to do is you will have to sign an NDA, okay, and also some T's and C's, which aren't onerous. That starts the application program. What you then have to do is then achieve the basic competencies. Okay, so that means that you have to do what's called partner expertise. You have to show partner excellence, and there has to be show some performance. It sounds quite considerable, but you'll see when we go through in a moment what that actually means. What will then happen is depending on the levels that you go through will then mean whether you get this silver or gold partner status. Okay, so what does that mean in relation to, firstly, expertise? So this is basically when we're actually looking at the sort of training requirements. So if we look at the base requirements here, this is basically the path that will lead you to the silver accreditation, the advanced to be the path which will take you through to the gold accreditation. So on the left-hand side there, what it means is that you would 25% of your, what we call your product sales staff, okay, so the people selling products, will then need to then undertake the associate course. 25% of product technical staff in your region can do the professional course. Now, you might only have 4 people in your team, so that just means that one person has to do that course. Do you see what I mean? So that's how that would then work. And then what you then do is, if you want to become a mobility consultant, then just 10% of your product technical staff would then need to do the expert training course. Now, if you then want to become a gold partner, then the percentage of the people that would actually need to undertake the training is increased. As you can say, it's 50% of product sales staff to do the associate and then also the professional courses. And then when it comes to the technical staff, that would then have to be 25%. From a gold perspective, you also have to produce 2 published private or public customer case studies that you've been involved in involving Android Enterprise. Okay, so what we then move on to is within the actual requirements as regards numbers that you've been involved in. This is basically where you've actually shown your excellence, where you've actually produced examples that have actually involved Android Enterprise. So let's say we're looking at the silver status. Okay, you've done the training, 25% of associate, 25% of your staff that have done professional, etc. What you then have to do is submit evidence that you've done at least 3 deployments that have involved 500 seats for Android Enterprise. Okay. If you wish to become a gold partner, and this obviously for the much larger resellers out there, is to provide evidence of at least 10,000 seats involving at least 6 deployments with Android Enterprise. Okay. Now, if you want to do zero touch, become a zero touch partner, again, you'd have needed to have undertaken the basic partner training, okay, and then you would then actually have to look at passing what's called a product review, which is effectively a video actually showing you then how you understand the system and how you actually do some uploads. And if you want to be a gold partner for zero touch, what you would then have to do is have to go through an integration process using various APIs provided by Google, and that would then give you a gold partner status. Anything else to add at this point, Naz?
No, I think you covered that off. Thank you.
Okay. And then when it comes to performance requirements, if you're just looking for the silver status, you've done the training. Okay, you've actually lodged the fact that shown evidence of 3 deployments over 500 seats each. You don't actually have to provide any additional performance requirements. If you were to go for gold status, what you then have to do is on a yearly basis is actually then show evidence of some year-on-year growth. And that growth is basically any growth at the moment. There's no actually defined number at the moment. Okay. If you want to be a zero-touch partner who's just going to be doing zero-touch uploads for your sub-resellers, for example, you have to then show that you're going to be doing 1,000 zero-touch activations cumulatively over a period of 12 months. And if you want to be a gold partner for zero-touch, you have to do over 10,000 on a yearly basis. Now, as I said, please obviously ask any questions. And obviously we'll answer them for you between now and the end of the session. So that's the actual partner program, how you apply, what's involved from a criteria perspective, okay, and what's actually required in relation to showing some performance, which would be the differentiation between the silver and gold there. Now, how can we help you with that? So again, when we go back to the fact that, you know, Android Enterprise is the methodology, an MDM or EMM is required to actually govern the device fleet. Now, Data Select is expert in all of this. And, you know, we work with many resellers, telecoms and IT resellers that can identify opportunities for us. And our team spends time every day with resellers and their customers going through opportunities. And what that means is helping to pre-qualify situations. It means then providing demos. It then means going through obviously everything that's associated with Android Enterprise, or providing demos of some of the MDM solutions, whether it's Samsung Knox or SOTI, for example. And what we can do is we can actually then help you and your customers get to the point in a particular situation, right up until the point of the commitment. Okay, we do invest in people to provide obviously solutions and provide this level of support. And recently we've had Jamie Lee join us on the team, another MDM EMM specialist, who again can actually help you and your customers with any deployments or any opportunities that you may have. Now, the way that it works is that because we provide all these propositions, it goes along the lines of our, you know, we sort of preach our 5 stages approach. Okay, now I'm sure some of you may have seen this before, but I think the important thing is here is with any of these opportunities, whether it's just learning about Android Enterprise, firstly, whether it's just learning about any of these MDM propositions, is training is obviously so important. I mean, obviously, you know, we look at this session today. This is obviously part of what would come under our training part, as it were. But we can then help you and your customers when it comes, whether it's sort of like short training courses, whether it's longer, more detailed training courses on Android Enterprise and any of these MDM propositions. But then when you do find an opportunity, is then, again, providing those presentations and overviews for the customers, but also then helping the customers to actually test the proposition. That's the most important thing, of course, is helping that customer get to a point where they have a build which they're comfortable with, which then means that they commit to that. And test instances can mean not just the overviews and the demos, but actually getting the test licenses from the likes of SOTI and Samsung, for example, so they can actually test the proposition themselves. Now, of course, any distributor can take an order, but what we mean by that is that there's a process for that in relation to getting things like supported pricing on discount and supported discounted pricing on volumes. It also means that we can then help with things like obviously the renewals and the additions from each of those propositions, and then helping yourself and the customer with deployment. Now, the deployment can then be helping with the build. It can also mean, of course, doing things like the uploads, but what we also do is then have a managed services team, okay, that can do physical and technical staging of devices. That can all be provided as part of the overall proposition. Now, we've come sort of towards the end. I'm just looking at I think we're going to put the link basically to the partner portal in the chat, Naz, right?
I think it should already be in there.
Is it already in there? Yeah, so if you can go into that chat there, the link into the portal that I demonstrated before is in there. So now a copy of this presentation will be sent out. As I say, it will have the links in there. Importantly, of course, it does obviously have it obviously just have also the other aspects in relation to the criteria as regards what's included as part of the accreditation program as well. But of course, most importantly, just pick up the phone or email us with any questions, and obviously we can go through that with you. We will be contacting each of you to sort of go through and see what you think, and then helping you then to try and get accredited. Naz, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, I'll just lower my hand. Do you want to just show what the partner portal looks like? I think you had it up on your screen. Just kind of show everyone what it looks like and what the main button to click on is. So there's the partner portal, as you can see on Marius's screen. There's a little button halfway down which says a little lozenge, as we call it, join the partner portal. So if you click on that, the first thing it's going to ask you to do, if you just click on it, Marius, it's going to ask you to put in your company email address. So as a new partner, because we don't have you in our database, as soon as you put this in, it'll send you a verification email into your inbox. When you click the verification email, it'll start you on your application to become a partner. So it's pretty straightforward. As you'd be the first person who's joining from your organization, it'd be you as a primary contact setting up the account details itself. So I just wanted to share that. And then secondly, we did get a question in the Q&A, which I answered, but I think I also hit submit quicker than I should have done. I think the question was, for silver, is that a 500 per deployment or cumulative? So the answer is we're looking for silver on mobility consulting, which I believe is what this question refers to. We would be looking at submitting 3 examples of deployments where you've got minimum of 500 seats. So it's not cumulative. We need to have a minimum of 500 across those three deployments. So hopefully that answers your question. And I think that came in from Emra Kulunk. Thanks, Emra.
Okay, and I suppose the other thing I wanted to ask as well is if you've got any people that are on this session, Naz, that maybe have done some training beforehand, maybe done it on any of the academies, could you just explain how that would work as regards to then getting that transferred over to this?
Yeah, sure. So if you've already started your training from an academy perspective without signing up for a partner portal account, what we recommend you do is you join up to the partner portal academy using the same email account that you created for academy. By doing that, it'll automatically transfer across your training, so they roll up to your partner portal account and count towards your accreditation. If you get any issues with that, then there is a help and support button from within the academy, and then our support team at Google can look to marry those up for you and make those manual connections.
Excellent. Okay, that's good stuff. Well, unless I don't have any other questions, is there anything else you'd like to add at this point, Naz?
No, I think we've covered off, the platform at a high level. We've covered off the main areas around the partner program itself. Again, if there's going to be a follow-up, Marius, if you're sending out documentation in these slides, That's great. Like I say, the team at Data Select are on hand to help all our partners and partner ecosystem through this process if you are interested. And there's plenty of benefits to be had being on the back of it. So thank you all for your time.
Naz, thank you as always. Thank you everybody for joining. As I say, copy of this presentation will be sent out and made available to you. Obviously, we'll look forward to speaking to you all soon. You all take care.